Yes, people, welcome back to the OTP pod, where we bring you uncensored, unfiltered conversations about the beautiful game. I'm your host, Mr. Y. I'm your host, Mr. Y. I'm here with my co-hosts, O and Chinny. What are you telling me, people, man? How's everyone doing today?
Blessed. Blessed. I can't lie. I'm all right. I'll be okay.
Yeah, man, I'm easy, you know. Like, obviously, we missed O on the last show, and we was meant to grill him on the last show. We didn't get to do that, Mr. Y. And then obviously we got him this week, and it looks like it might be a little double grilling, but it's shaping up to be a good show, man. It's been a good week. Yes, back on to winning ways.
For some.
Yeah, man. For some. How you feeling, Mr. Y? I've been seeing your tweets. How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been an interesting week, man. It's been an interesting week, man. Discussing the fallout of, the games gone by, the end of an era, as Ten Hag came and said. Yeah, it's interesting, bro. It's been an interesting week, man. And the landscape of the football's changing as well, so that's interesting as well. Certain people are gonna have to go through rebuilds. So yes, it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't lie. We're in a stable place. We got all to fight for with 4 games remaining. So yeah, man, I'm happy as can be, bro.
So, your face shows it.
Bro.
All errors come to an end.
Bro, errors come to an end, bro. And unfortunately, the conversations about Klopp, and I've had these conversations on Twitter and everything as well, but it's one of them ones where we're seeing the fallout now. And, when people look at that Premier League, kids will only look at the facts. Context gets removed years in and years out. So, like, when we look at Wenger and his legacy, for instance, people don't talk about, him moving Arsenal to the Emirates, having to sell his best players years in, years out. They just talk about the drought. They just look at the stone cold hard facts and come to a conclusion about the second half of his tenure. And the reality is that's how fans are going to start looking at the whole Klopp legacy, and they're going to look at it.
Even just the fans, man. The pundits are gonna they big up Klopp and all that right now, but like Mr. Y said, in a few years, them pundits are gonna be like, well done that Klopp challenge Pep, but I think that's what they're gonna say. Like, it's gonna be like cool, isn't it?
Yeah, bro.
That's the thing. There's no context behind it, so people just get.
And also additional to that, right? Like, not even sending shots, but if we were to challenge City again next season, right, and push City, push City to the final day and whatnot, then the conversation almost becomes, like, in terms of league-wise, there hasn't been a huge disparity in terms of all Arteta would have to do is just pick up a league title within that time to be still within a conversation of having challenged Pep, because you've got to remember the biggest discussion about Klopp is in regards to the fact that he's pushed Pep so far, but he's never got them over the line in a race. I know they've won it once, and more, all power to him, but that's going to be the conversation at hand. So I still think Klopp's a phenomenal manager, and what he's done at Liverpool with a limited budget is still something to be respected. But I also understand that context will always be lost as time goes on. No one wants to hear about how this happened, or the history books don't put in all the nuances within the game and what's happened. They will just look at, the stone cold stats, the facts, who did what, when, and then conclusions will come from that. And unless you live it, unless you experience it, you're not going to have, people, the kids 20 years from now are just going to look at it as black and white, man. And then that's what carries that history.
Well, it was a big week of football. Couple of derbies, London derbies, Merseyside derbies, points taken, points gained. So we might as well start on a team that has lost points, I guess, this week. We haven't heard from you in 2 weeks, so it'd be nice to hear from you first. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm here with it. I'm here with it. I don't know where to start. I had to watch the game back, and I was just like, man.
Players get, league title on the line. Klopp's last season. Let's go.
You know what's crazy about all this as well? We're talking about history being documented and context and all this stuff. This season's being recorded.
Oh yeah, I saw that tweet.
Show coming out with this season. Yeah. That's right. That's like when people's not deep in when they say like Klopp's farewell, you know, is going outside. Like when I say that, I don't mean it just as like performance. I mean, you're gonna be able to go on Netflix or Prime, yeah, and boom, YouTube. So I was gonna copy it, YouTube. So forget that. You know the people that post on Twitter and they're like full movie. They throw a random movie. They're just gonna throw that out there of Klopp, just random, boom. And it's a shame that like it's gonna end this way. But going to that game, you know, one thing you always thought is you
never know. This could still be the fairy tale ending. You know that series or movie, whatever it's going on, it could be the most selling series if you end up winning the league. But you know, it's just,
you know what, it's one of the things they were like. It was in our hands at one stage, then it went to not in our hands but stay in it. Then now it's at the point where it's obviously out of our hands now, isn't it? So it's just one of the things that we're just looking at other teams and seeing what other teams do, and we'll play to the end, we'll fight to the end and whatnot. Saying that,
I can't lie, yeah, Chinny's been hella cheeky because he's just trolling about the chances.
No. I know. I'm just rising above it. I'm rising above it. But what I'm saying is like it's one of those things where we all play football. You know, we all have a footballing brain. It's like, you know, they always say win your first balls, win the first one. If you can't win the second. And we just went up for it. And it reminds me of almost like I can't remember what season it was when we played Brentford. And they were just aerial balls, and Tony was winning everything and knocking it down and winning everything. And it was that game for me. It gave me PTSD of that game. I think we had a similar game with West Ham where their striker was winning everything area, and they know that. Like, you have to remember, we statistically when having this conversation about Arsenal's back line versus Liverpool's back line, or their back two against our back two, it was they're winning this stuff aerially. You know, we're winning stuff in the air, dominant, blah blah blah. I don't expect you talk about a person, a striker who's shy of goals,
man who wears skirts and handbags.
You know what? Each to their own. Fashion is fashion, in it. But what I'm saying is, you're going for a man that's like no confidence, low confidence, not really whatnot. I don't think he would have been really looking forward to. That's when you think of the two. You're gonna pay your thinking to people who are in the air, dominant, and they're gonna run you ragged. They're gonna play physical, and I feel like, especially Conte, sorry,
Konate.
You can't even name your players right now.
Konate.
Do you know what? I was going to use a Conte expression for something, but I changed my mind because it's gonna rile people up. But Konate, yeah, I remember when Conte first came and he was
you look stressed out, man. Do you want to?
Yes. I remember when Conte first. The way I say that, I remember Conte first came in the way he tried to sort out the back. He turned to about 5. He tried to sort out and what he talked about winning your challenges. I was going to quote that, but forget about it. It doesn't matter because we got absolutely dominated, and he hid from challenges. He went for fouling instead of, you just can't be a person. And it wasn't even one of those where you make your mark on somebody and you think, I'm gonna hit the striker, make him know I'm there. It was very much I'm jumping, turning my back because he's probably not gonna win it. I'm probably gonna win the second balls. There was no confidence, and I felt like going to that game, Karen Lewin would have been like, I don't want to play these guys. You're going to keep hoofing the ball down the pitch. I'm not going to win them much. And the game plan worked. It's like straight, simple, Burnley, Stoke type football. You know what? Where people hated to play. That style of football. You're just going along with the time. You're winning the ball, and I just feel like they just completely dominated that game, and their plan worked. And it really, I was surprised to see how we reacted to that. I know we had some chances, but it just looked like, I don't know, it just looked like our team just went up for it, especially with Klopp dropping players in the previous game and, putting Salah and Nunes on the bench.
Rested, man.
yeah, just especially with that, I thought they would have been like, okay, these guys are playing well. You know, we won the game, even though we got knocked out. Like, you're thinking, okay, we need to show that we're them players. We had people on Twitter asking for our youths to come on, and it was an embarrassing overall. And I think going back to something we spoke about, and again, the reason why I'm not even like I'm stressed, but I'm not annoyed, like I'm more upset, is because we've seen signs of this from the first game of the season. And my thing is, like, we always talked about our trump card being, you know, the strikers bailing us out. We've always defended poorly. Like, besides certain games, we've defended quite poorly. You know, we have had some clean sheets, but none of them has been convincing. Our defense ain't look convincing. Our midfield's not been convincing, really. You know, we preferred, you know, a non-6 to play in a 6. You know, you have Endo, he looks a little bit tired. He looks a little bit tired for me. I feel like, you know, it's a big ask for it on his body, and I feel like that's not an excuse, but I feel like we never really addressed certain issues, and Klopp was kind of just like, it's worked, we've got through it, so we're just gonna continue playing. So for me, I'm not surprised in a sense of like, okay, when the goals dried up, we're just gonna lose, because we've gone over 10 games with conceding first. I just felt like at some point the goal's gonna dry up, like it did when we had Mane and Salah. So it's nothing new, and I felt like what now this is when we ask a bit more of Klopp. And although the players are to blame, I wanted to see Klopp try something different, maybe go to a 4-2-3-1 to get a bit, I don't know, just try something a little bit different. And I don't know, it kind of then goes back to what Mr. White was saying about his tactics, and, you know, make in-game changes and tactics and whatnot. So I had to kind of eat my words, and I'm not like in this sense, because this is not new. From game one, this is what we've experienced. We've just always outscored the opponents, but now it's dried up. And again, it happens. Every striker's dried up with goals at some point in there. These top strikers have all dried up at some point.
Can I interject for a second? Because
from
the outside looking in, I didn't think goals would dry up, because you have so many options for goals. So for me, it was never about your goals drying up. It was more about, is it sustainable to allow the amount of chances that you allow, and to win games by just simply outscoring your opponents. So for me, I'm more surprised at the fact that you have dried up, because it seems like everybody in your front line is firing blanks at the moment. Yeah, there is not one person in that forward line that is actually delivering, bar Jota, who did his thing and then went back on the injury bench, right?
Yeah.
So that to me is more the surprise, because it's your defense has been your defense. We've seen you lot be open like this. We've seen you lot be 2-0 down to, was it 2-0 down to Fulham or whatever it was, and come back and then do your madness late on and win the game. We've seen your forward line just deliver with excellence from like Trent, from Salah, from whoever. We've seen this repetitively throughout the season. So like for me, the shock from the outside is just like, damn, like that attack. I thought that attack would keep on going. I just thought somewhere down the line your defense would let you down.
I agree. But I definitely agree. But being like, knowing that like Jota gets injured, we look at Thiago.
He's been at your club 4 years, yeah, and he's through his injuries, he's missed half of the games in them 4 years. That to me is Thomas Partey like behavior, bro. But we don't talk about it.
This is how this is gonna say. Like we highlight like Thiago's and whatnot, but Jota's not far off like missing games and whatnot. Like for me, the only thing about it is when he comes back, he just goes back to kill mode. Like, you know what I mean? He just goes back and he just bangs goals. So people tend to, you know, brush under the carpet. But my issue with this whole thing is, like, for example, like I was talking to a Liverpool fan and we were talking about, you know, like consistency of the back four, and I was like, maybe I'm old school and out of touch, but I had this conversation about, you know, Kwanzaa playing and Kanate playing, sorry. So my thing is like, and then Matip, Matip, injury prone, gets injured for a long period every season. Kanate misses, he can't play more than 2 games in a row. And then there's games where you don't really prefer him.
What's wrong with that? Why can't he do that?
Well, to be fair, before we signed him, and I like him as a player, he always picked up little nibbles here and there. So he's always like, you know, he always had little injuries here and there. So when we signed him, that was one of my biggest things, because one of our biggest issues, and I can talk about my club, is we ain't had a player who's always available, like the way some like Wijnaldum was as an example. Like, and I think availability is key. So for me, when you're trying to defend, you know, the saying about defenses against strikers, you know, winning you know, trophies and whatnot. Like, so for me, one of the best things about your back four is you was able to keep your two centre backs playing throughout the season, and you saw it when you lost to League. Was it last season? It ordered whatnot. So for me, it's like we know these. I don't know where that came from, but so let's all play with me right now. I know it's so high play old with me right now.
Nothing, that's all on you, bro. That's what your hand movements, bro.
Let me chill. Yeah, so my thing is like, this is one of my arguments was like, I'm old school. So I just feel like your back four should be a back four, and you can make adjustments within game and whatnot. But the way we're playing Konate for 2 games, Kwanzaa in for a game, and then I was challenged with, he prefers Kwanzaa for games where you know you're gonna have more possession and blah 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 blah. So I think so then play Kwanzaa, like if it's not Konate. But we got to stop this. Like for me, you got to build. It's all about relationships, and I know Chinny uses a lot. Relationships are huge on the pitch. So like knowing where your players gonna be, and you saw it with Gomez and Van Dijk and whatnot. So it's just like I want my back four to be my back four, my centre back pair, and then you alter it as much as you like when you have to. But I just feel like I still don't know what the best midfield is for Liverpool. I still don't know. I feel like the back four is the best back four by choice, but there's no one else to get in there, because even when Matip was playing, it was changed a lot. So left back chooses itself, right back chooses itself, goalkeeper chooses itself, but the attack.
With your middle, the problem is that you don't really have a prime creator. You have a couple players
who really played with that.
They don't play like that, bro. They play with.
You, but that's the problem.
I know, I agree, because I'm a big fan of like 4-2-3-1s and those formations where you have somebody who can like get the ball and create.
Arsenal play 4-3-3, and Odegaard plays on the right hand side of the 3, but he's our prime creator.
Yeah.
Even though he's playing as an 8.
You know what? Yeah, I think for me, although it would be nice to have a prime creator, I don't think it's a necessity. Look at the balls that Trent played into Nunes throughout that game. There were so many passes that he played from deep where they were able to create chances. If you look at Liverpool this season, creating chances has not been the issue, right? So I feel we can all talk about how they could perhaps improve, and maybe a creator could improve them even further. But I think it would be disingenuous to sit here and talk about creation.
My argument wasn't about their chance creation. My argument was about their midfield balance in general.
But their midfield balance is more to do with a defensively as opposed to offensively, because again, if we look at the offensive part of their game, it's not been the issue in terms of, it's more to do with finishing their chances. Liverpool create a hell of a lot of chances.
I mean, because when you think about to concede, like when we had Fabinho and he was playing form, you weren't getting to our defense at some point. It was I see a great 6, like you saw Partey and you see the way we're playing Rice and whatnot, and Jorginho, when they come in, they fill in and they're just sitting and doing what needs to be done and breaking up play. It's the importance is you're not even getting to that back four. It's not easy to get back four, but I feel like even with no matter who plays there, the back four is being exposed regardless, and they're not playing well. But there's not that man in front of them who's sitting doing it. And I think everyone say, Endo's doing what he's doing and whatnot, but I still don't prefer him to. I think you just got, it's just better to have somebody there that's kicking at somebody.
And I highlighted this, I think, earlier on in the season. I said to you a lot, Virgil has been exposed over the last 2 seasons because he's got no one to protect him. So he's having to deal with a lot more people running at him. The structure of the team doesn't suit you lot defensively or your players defensively. That's why there's more lapses. It's not like your defenders are all bad. I just think tactically you're probably not the best structurally set up and probably don't have the right personnel. Like Endo in 6 is not the best person to shield your back four, and that has been the biggest problem for
why Klopp I ask her, I'm asking a lot more from Klopp because we're noticing it, he's noticing it, but it's kind of like, we're scoring goals, we won that game. But we was 1-0 down, 10 man down in the first minute because you're playing like Curtis Jones in it. You know what I mean? So for me, I definitely agree with you. But this is why I look at Klopp and I said, I was back in the whole tactical things. And I got a lot of people that when I was podcasting before saying, tacticianly, like as a man that always said, and I've always held the fire for him and said, "Yo, no, he's blah blah." But this is where I'm like, okay, so then go into a 4-2-3-1, or you go into this role. Like, let me see something different. And I asked a lot from Klopp over the last 3 or 4 games, and it's just been go out there and do the same thing. It'll click at some point, and that's kind of why I'm just like,
so
actually just come in.
Yeah. And I just say, yeah, I remember when you two were ridiculing me because of my whole Klopp
I said that. I just said you're right.
No. I'm just saying, because I remember when he was bringing on forwards, yeah, bringing on a player that is, you know, an extra body into that position. So he brought on who did he bring on again? He brought on Darwin against Newcastle, and apparently it was a great tactical change. And for me, it was good management, but tactical change is to do with actual doing something different within the team. For me,
you know why I called that out?
Hold on, one second. Let me just feel land here, because I criticised Arteta about this against Bayern Munich. Yeah, when he just brought on offensive players, he just thought, I'm going to throw like alternative attackers, and that is the tactic. And I thought that was poor. It's not actual tactic. It's just putting on personnel.
What manager does do good tactical changes?
Who does good tactical changes?
Yeah.
I've seen Pep do good tactical changes. I've seen Arteta do good tactical changes.
But Pep does the this season he brought in the John Stones moving into midfield, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in game, he doesn't really do tactical changes.
Well, he doesn't always change like for like. He it's not necessarily bringing on a like for like. Sometimes, for instance, I'll give you an example. I think there was a game where, was it Liverpool, right? He took off KDB and he brought on Kovacic for more control in the midfield, because Liverpool were getting a stronghold in that game because they weren't controlling the team. That is a tactical change. That's not changing. You know, that's not moving.
Nunes, then, right?
Huh?
Isn't that the same on Nunes?
No, that's not.
You know what? I definitely hear what he's saying, because you we brought on Gomez and
the tactical shape. If tactical means change shape, so you play different. Tactical mean I'm bringing on a player that has different attributes, so you play different anyway.
I mean, it's not a like for like, so it becomes a tactical.
Is to make sure that we don't play the same.
Sorry, say that again.
The point of tactics is to make sure that we don't play the same. So when Havertz plays up front for Arsenal, we employ the same tactics as when Jesus plays up front for Arsenal, except the two players have different skill sets. So now the players and the team can play different.
Yeah, but Kai Havertz will start one day in.
Yeah, but what
you move him up.
The team and the shape and where the players are exactly the same. It just means the different personnel will make the team play different, because it's different.
Of course, but what I'm trying to say to you, yes, substitutions have a thing, but I'm saying to you, they're like for like substitutions. So what I'm trying to say to you is that there is in game, there's tweaks you can do. Like I said to you the other day when we were talking about the Bayern Munich game, for instance, I said Arteta should have brought on a midfielder rather than bringing on more thing. That is a smarter tactical change than just bringing on personnel for personnel. Klopp does it. I've criticised my own manager for doing it, and it's just bringing on as many forwards as you can, because you've got game changers. He's got people that can score goals, and he puts someone. It's like, go do your thing, and he's very Wenger-like in that expression. And I've also likened him to a Sir Alex. I think he's a great man manager, and I've said this with Owen when we've spoken privately as well. Like, I think he is a great man manager, but tactically, Klopp hasn't really evolved tactically in terms of the way he plays. It's always been his way. There's only one way to do it. There isn't any variation to it. There is no, if you listen to De Zerbi the other day speaking about Pep Guardiola, and he was talking about every time he's played Pep, there's always been a tweak that he does that he wasn't ready for it. I remember last season when Arsenal played City, there was a tweak in which they started playing long, right? For the first time ever, they started playing long up to Haaland, right? And bypassing our press because we gave them troubles at home. These are tweaks that I talk about tactically that the manager employs.
About that game, it's going off topic. I don't actually think they did that because of our press. I think they did that because we had Rob Holding. Because if you do that against Saliba and Gabriel, it's a totally different game.
But it might be, but I still think the tactic there was to try and exploit that. It would have still been to try and exploit that to get out of it, because they struggled last time, right? It's not about whether it works or it doesn't work. that's a whole different conversation. We've seen it fail this season. But what I'm trying to say to you is Pep has tried to switch it up tactically. And that's where I criticised Klopp at the beginning of the season. I said, I think he's outstanding and I respect everything he's done within the game. However, it's his adaptability. It's his, ability to find different ways to problem solve for Liverpool. And I feel like that is one area that he falls short in. And
so, Mr. White, but going based off obviously Klopp's tactics and stuff, how do you feel like he could have changed the game against Everton? Like what could he have done to change that game? Because obviously it wasn't going well from more or less the first 5 minutes. They had the ball, but it wasn't going well.
Well, I think in general, defensively, it's not even about. I'm not even looking at just that game. I'm looking more systematically over the course of the season. Defensively, Liverpool have been able to be got at. That's a factual statement, right? Their expected XG has been a lot higher than what they've actually conceded due to some wonderful saves from Alisson, some poor finishing at times. So that is where I'm critical of. Is what can you do as a manager, right? What structure can you set up to prevent that team having those many clear-cut chances on your goal, right? It's not just personnel. It's about just the tweaks of how the structure and how they defend, because Liverpool are very open. And the reason why they're able to hit teams in transition is a lot of it is because of how open they are. You can play through them. And, say what you want about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin at his best is a physical specimen in terms of he's got pace.
I was waiting for what words are going to say, You're still speaking about it.
No. He's a bro. He's pace. He's got pace. He's got strength. He's got aerial ability. He's had his hard times, like in terms of form and whatnot. Injuries has been a big issue.
He's an athlete.
He is an athlete, bro. He is Tony with pace. Like in terms of like his leap is crazy. And before we forget, right, that the run he went on.
He's physically Tony. I don't know about that finishing ability and stuff.
Yeah, I'm talking about physically. Yeah, like his ability to bully strikers, to bully defenses. Sorry. And we saw his capabilities when fit under Ancelotti that season, right? When he was bagging goals when he was bullying teams, when he was kind of getting a shout for the England team as well at one stage. Like he has the capability to give any central defender a torrid time. And again, with Konate and Virgil not being off it, I mean, firstly, I think we need to talk about Trent on that corner, right? I'm a massive Trent fan. I think he's outstanding.
So many times. That was Zinchenko-esque.
Yeah, it is. And I've said this. I tweet. Do you remember I tweeted this about Cancelo, Zinchenko, Trent? They're outstanding players that can give you something going forward. Trent and Cancelo can give you way more than Zinchenko. I'm not comparing them, by the way, for those listening. Or before you feel like I'm putting them in the same like level of quality, but they offer you something going forward. But defensively, they are players that tend to panic or can be when put in uncomfortable situations or can be liabilities. And Trent literally was just, I don't know what he was doing, bro. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he was admiring, the Goodson crowd. I don't know if he saw a thing in the crowd. I don't know what it was, that took his mind off the game. But he weren't at it, like in that corner. He weren't switched on. And if you're marking someone bigger than you, got to at least have your hand on them. You've got to be able to try and put them off. I don't expect him to leap with Calvert-Lewin and stop him from scoring. But what I do expect is to a little nudge to kind of try and, offset what he's trying to do. So, but that game for me it was representative of what you lot have been defensively this season, that you can be got at.
I think attacking and defensively, like we talk about Darwin.
Oh, that's another conversation, bro. Like I said, Darwin is a good player. However, his finishing will be a problem for you lot. And for me, when we were talking about Jota a second ago, and you talked about his injuries, I know he's injury prone, but Jota's a £40 million player. So even though he doesn't contribute over the course of a season as much as you'd like him to, for a £40 million player, that you get a solid level of contribution in terms of goals when he's fit. Darwin was bought for exponentially higher than what you paid for Jota. There's an expectation, there's a return on investment you're expecting with that. Yeah,
you can't. We ain't paying the 85 mil because he ain't getting no Ballon d'Or. We probably will win a Champions League under him or Premier League, and he ain't gonna be in top goal scorer. So it'll probably end up being a £60 million, £55 million deal, bro.
But it's all mental with him, because for me, it's like when he gets into those areas, he snatches. Like when he was 1-on-1 with Pickford, he has, a Harry Kane, a more natural finisher, a more composed finisher, right? Will take their time and pick the type of finish they have. Pickford are overcommitted as well to the right-hand side, to his near post. You don't have to just smash that ball. It's almost like he got so excited at the idea of just receiving that ball. And it's those type of things that hold him back. I don't think he's a bad player, but I think unless he is coached properly, unless he is, trained, he gets in that repetition. Yeah. And, that again has to go on. Again, I would put that on the Liverpool coaching team, not just Klopp, but the whole coach team. You have signed a player that needs work. Work on him, like develop him, because he's got skill set. He gets chance after chance. He's got pace. He's got strength. Develop him, like let him build build him back up to what he was at Benfica. Was it Benfica he came from?
Yeah.
It was Benfica, yeah. So build him back, because in the Champions League, he was cold, bro. The finishes he had, he was relaxed.
So,
it's a mental thing.
After that result, where do you see your club? Like, what do you see happening here? Obviously, you have West Ham at home on the weekend, and then you have Tottenham, I think, Aston Villa, and I forgot who your last game's against. Wolves or something. Wolves.
It's Wolves our last game.
So, yeah, you don't have the easiest of 4 games remaining. So, how do you see that result, and then the rest of your season going? Like, well, just into this weekend, you got
West Ham. 12:30 kickoff as well. The stitch shots right off in it. You know what? I'll be honest with you, and I'm gonna keep it 100. We spoke in our group chat, and I was saying, like, I don't think anybody's going unbeaten. Like the rest of the games, I think I said there's 2 games ago.
Yeah.
If anyone's going unbeaten, I think everyone will drop points. I just didn't think we'd be the poor souls that drop points first. So I think so I'm not like, if this is the game that we drop points in. Obviously, it's a shit game to drop points in, but I felt like I didn't see us winning all the rest of our games. I don't see the rest of the teams win the rest of their games. I think West Ham will watch that game, especially after their game, and they'll be licking their lips and saying, "Oh, we can play that style of football easy. We're way better than them. We can deploy that same game plan and do that."
It's slightly different at Anfield.
Right, I didn't say that. Then they have to remember it's Anfield. Well, this is an Anfield that have now the records have been broken. This isn't the same Anfield. I still see a W. I think that the players will be up for it. I think they have to play. Got points to prove, not just for that. You've got people going their last year their contracts. You've got a new manager coming in. It will be almost be like and it's now, are we really gonna not pull together for our manager who's brought us this amount of glory or brought us back into a fold of a conversation? So
you can't capitulate like Arsenal last season. That's what you can't do.
I mean, we've done it before, so but I think looking at the game, I'm obviously everyone would probably say, "Oh, you shouldn't go into too confident." It's not just that. I feel like it'll be a reactionary, so I'm looking for players to react, and I think they will react the way I need them to go. What I want is convincing clean sheet, convincing win, because we ain't had too many of them. We've won games, but we ain't had too many convincing wins in terms of like sharp shot. We're not conceding. We're not in the first 10 minutes or 5 minutes. They ain't had 5 minutes. I don't think 10 minutes. First 3 minutes, they probably already would have a team will already had a shot at us. So going into this game, I'm definitely looking at it as the players have the kahunas to react and get the result that we're looking for. Personally, West Ham is no easy game. None of these games are easy games. It's every game's a cup final until the end, and the players need to react not just for themselves and for Klopp.
Not to harp on about Klopp and everything, but I asked a question on Twitter. We said we'll discuss, but do you feel like this whole Amorim, Arnie Slot conversations have impacted, your form? Because when I look at Liverpool, I know a lot of people are using the theory that, Klopp shouldn't have announced that he was leaving, which I disagree with, because I think had it come out, it would have been detrimental. Without him announcing it, would have been detrimental anyways. Like, the news was always going to filter out. But I think the fact that you lot are trying to hire a manager mid-season, players are looking at, oh, who's this person, who's that person. I think it can allow players to slightly take their eye off the ball, because they have some eye on the future and who will possibly be managing them next season, as opposed to had this been done at the end of the season, a few weeks later, there's no actual distractions mid-season. I mean, what do you think as a Liverpool fan? I mean,
I definitely think it is a distraction. I believe, and again, if any Liverpool fan watches back, feel free to correct me. I believe they even quoted saying they will do that at the end of the season. That it wasn't going to be no rush into finding it will be the right candidate. They want to get it signed over like towards the end of the season to allow us to do what they're doing. So obviously, them putting out that statement shows that it does, because again, we've got 3 players that's contracts are running out. Some people thinking, okay, what's next?
Oh, is that cheap? Because obviously one of your legends, Jamie Carragher, he's been all over the news lately for a load of things. Let's just talk about his.
It's not spitting at people again, right?
No, not quite. He might start soon, but not right now. But let's talk about. He's been talking about Liverpool overachieving. Okay. He tweeted this morning that Arne Slot obviously will be the new Liverpool manager. Said that he's been successful in his career so far, but the current final boss, is he ready to take on Guardiola? And I saw it and I was thinking, successful? He's won 1 Eredivisie and 1 Dutch Cup. Is that success to you?
That's success from Feyenoord's perspective, bro. Success? If you look at that,
I was going to say that. Yeah, for them.
Yeah, bro, success, bro. If you're the underdog in that league, if you're not the big dog in that league, you got to remember that Ajax. It's a bit like the German league.
Ajax have gone downwards for the last few years now.
No, but I'm talking about in generally, Ajax have had a stronghold over that league.
Right? Until they lost Frankie de Jong, Van der Beek, De Ligt, all at once.
It was until Ten Hag left. Let's even call it what it is. When Ten Hag left for United, which was last year, was Ten Hag's first season. That's when the decline started. I think. Did they win it last season as well? Oh,
I think Feyenoord won it last.
I don't know who won it. I'll double check.
Yeah.
And PSV are winning it this year.
Okay, but I'm just saying to you, like, it's a league that no one's really had a stronghold over, and they're the 3rd biggest team in that league with very limited resources. So I would compare it a bit to how Bayer Leverkusen.
He's a successful manager. That's what we're saying,
bro.
Again, we talk about perspective a lot. Yeah, we have to remember we talk about perspective a lot, so we can't. It is for them. So,
all right.
Is he successful?
If he's a successful manager,
but who we compare? Is he compared to
in that league? Yeah, he's a successful.
In his world, he's successful.
Let me simplify. Is Ranieri a successful manager for Leicester? Yes or no? Okay, and the reason we say yes is because of the scope of where Leicester are. Right? Is Amorim?
I'll take as a successful manager then, because he's had to compete with.
No, but again, success is based. If we look, it depends on what we're talking about from a trophy perspective, right? So a lot of people will slander Arsenal and Arteta, unfortunately, because the major's not there yet, right? The major would, the Prem or a European trophy. So it's
the real recognized trophy, trophy that cement. You wouldn't have to ask that question if they won one of those.
So if you win the league, if you win the league, right, and it's the top league, and you win that in your division, that is success. Whatever division, whatever league you're in.
Social.
Winning it? Top division. I'm talking about top. We're talking, PS. We're comparing the Dutch to the.
Now we just getting further and further down the chain.
Yeah. Again, still. Listen,
all right.
But
he's talking about competing. Okay, forget if he's a successful manager or not. He's talking about can he compete with Pep, which I saw as kind of a dig, because I'm thinking, you got bigger fish to fry right now. You're talking about competing with Pep, big man. Right now, you're competing with more than just Pep, but also Is Trent going to stay? Is Salah going to stay? Is Virgil going to stay? Do any of these big players want to stay and play for you? Because who are you? Second of all, can you attract any big players or any players that just want to come to your club? Like, who wants to play for you and why? Because who are you?
I mean,
unless it's a young player or a player that wants to play for Liverpool specifically, what
we still have a pulling power.
As Liverpool football
manager
club.
Style, Klopp is. We spoke about this in the group chat. Klopp is
Liverpool
big,
football club, but Klopp obviously might have some German influence. He might have players that just like his style of play. That's like, Klopp looks like he can get the most out of me because there's on start of his career kind of thing. And can he even handle big players? Like if Virgil stays or Salah stays, what like can Arnie deal with that? Because has he ever managed a big player?
I think the fact they've gone for a coach is a promising perspective to begin with. I think where a lot of teams have gone wrong is they tried to bring in either a wrong profile or somebody that doesn't have or somebody who generally doesn't fit in line with the philosophy of the club and the ethos of the club. So when we look at United, they brought in Moyes, who again is a very similar style of man manager as opposed to being a tactician. If you read about Fergie was never really a tactician in that way, never really coached sessions. They'd leave it to Rene Mullerstein and the rest of his staff. Arsenal brought in Emery, who really and truly is not really an art by our definition in terms of like a Arsenal type of manager. You wouldn't put him with our style of football. And yeah, I think in this instance, and he didn't play modern football. He wasn't playing the modern way in that kind of sense. Whereas Arne Slot, as much as unrecognized he may be, he is a coach. And that, for me, is a promising thing because he will give them some of the things that they perhaps lacked. He might not be able to inspire them in the same way.
You give to players that want to receive the information. So if Van Dijk is thinking, I think I saw an interview on there. I think it was Rio Ferdinand, and he said David Moyes come in and he was showing him a video of like John Terry or some other random centre back.
No, they showed him Jagielka, but again, that's the problem. It's Jagielka.
So like, if Arnie's coming in and showing him clips of some Feyenoord clip from when and this is how big players are going to be like, I don't give a.
We got some Dutch in there, so I think that'd be a good. When you think about him being our manager, I think Salah is gone. I don't think Salah stays. My question is, if he does stay, I don't know. It will be because where does he go? Because I think he's still at a level where he can play in the European leagues. So maybe that's where it is.
Diaz that kind of wants out.
Again, that's here nor there. We don't know. It's all we're reading speculation. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But Trent. I'm excited for Trent staying. Trent's not going over.
Before we move off this, why do you think Trent's staying? What has convinced you that Trent is going to stay?
Why hasn't Saka left?
Because Saka's on a long-term contract.
Yeah, but why didn't he leave before he signed his new contract?
Because our team was going upwards.
I think the difference.
But his loyalty in him wanting to be somewhere
because we built.
Saka loves Arsenal.
Yeah, I get that.
Saka loves Arsenal. He's staying. He's not going. It was never a question he will go somewhere. And I think
I disagree.
Right now,
no, I disagree because Saka has signed very short-term extensions. They're not long-term. He hasn't signed like a 5-6 year deal, right? So a 4-year deal, exactly. But I'm just saying to you, when you look at contracts, 4-year deal is not a long-term deal in the grand scheme.
What are we comparing it to 8? That's a normal deal.
Yeah, that's a lot. 4-year deal is a long-term deal, man.
That's a normal deal. I don't understand. And then it's usually a 4-year with an option of a 5th.
Yeah, with an option.
And it's not. You compare it to an 8-year deal, then I mean.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say to you is it was a 4-year deal at the time, but it was also extending. It was only extending his contract by a further 2 years, was it, or 2 years from what it was originally? So the reality is that if Arsenal don't hit certain heights, there is a possibility that in a year's after next season, for instance, if we're not doing our business, that he could perhaps think, well, maybe I might have to do this for the betterment of my career. I'm not saying, and the same could be said perhaps of Trent. I don't think Trent's leaving this summer.
I can't see him leaving this summer.
I think
I can see him signing a new contract.
This is the difference with Trent and Saka. Trent has won the league and the Champions League with you guys, yeah? And he's been through that super high of having Mane, Salah, Bird, like all these top players at your club, and he's won everything. So if there's no more top players and he has to be that guy from right back to win you games,
which he has
that key player, will he want to be that when he's watching?
He's been that guy though. He's been very important to have football and whatnot. And I think him being given the vice captaincy as well, I think he's definitely like, I want to take this armband. I want to be.
I think when he's watching his peers and he's seeing that he can go to different teams. Obviously, Trent can go to most teams. Any team. He can go to but he can go and play any team in the world. And when he's seeing that, and he's got 1 year left, why isn't he signing a new contract? Give me a good reason as to why he hasn't signed.
I'm not in the rooms, but I can't lie to you though. I can't lie to you. This isn't the first time we've had these big players. We've been here with our big players, and then they've signed contracts. So for what is not relaxed for you is relaxed for me because we've been here with players and still giving them contracts. I'm comfortable.
I think the whole argument
is that long to sign contract.
I'm comfortable.
They want some super money, so they're holding the club to ransom. This is a club that he loves, so he's either holding them to ransom.
I mean, you deserve some money when you think about it.
I mean, look,
I'm sure Liverpool would pay that if he just said, you know what, I want 300 bags. I'm sure they'd be like, okay, because I need.
He's not getting 300 bags.
I think as fans, what we do is we look at things as black and white and be like, oh, he loves the club, so therefore, he should do this, or but the reality is that
I genuinely think it's not. He should. He could go to Madrid and that would be a better option for him.
No, what I'm talking about, is in terms of like, he should have signed a deal already or whatever. But the reality is, it's a business as well. It's a line of work, and it's also a short career. So I think as well, he would just sit down and analyze what's happening in the summer, what the plans are, perhaps get a feel of the coach, and that will give him an indication of where he wants to be. I'd be lying. Right, I'd be lying if Arsenal signed it.
But not with 1 year.
But that's not unnormal though.
What letting a player go to 1 year, a top player?
That's not unusual.
That is mental. That is terrible business.
I hear that. We've handled that. We've handled that many times. So it's like you have to understand, if you go back to some of our players, we've gone down to the last year or running into the last 18 months, then started negotiations at the end of that season, which would then be a year. It's not the first time we've done it.
Yeah, bro. The reality is that Trent could be holding out because it gives him better bargaining power in negotiating a better salary. That's one part of it. I mean, we haven't done it recently, but we've done it with Adebayo, not Adebayo, with Aubameyang not long ago, right? So it's a thing where it gives the player the upper hand in negotiations, right? He doesn't want to leave the club, but he's also saying, look, like, pay me my worth. Like, I've got Madrid over here, I've got this team over here that want me. And it gives
if he wants 300k a week, it's not happening.
Yeah. But again, I'm just saying to you, it gives him that ability to get closer to.
No, I agree with you, and that's how I see it. I see it as he's just saying, okay.
If it comes to the end of the season, and Trent goes, okay, I want 300 grand a week. Liverpool turn around and say, no, we're not giving you that.
That's negotiations. That's what you do, contract negotiations.
But if he's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna leave at the end of my contract for free. Liverpool are going to be like, no, we got to sell you right now.
I mean,
we ain't let you go for free.
I mean, we let players go on free.
But that's do you know how mad that
was? I'm so confident in this conversation that he's not going nowhere. He's not going nowhere. I'm like, if you think he's going to go for free, then you can think he can go for free. If you think he can go, you can think he's go. Salah is who I think is gone.
Yeah,
maybe even Virgil before the captaincy. I thought Virgil was gone too.
Well, let's move on, boys. Let's move on, man. Let's move on to
a club that's got affairs more in order as of recently. Pride of London. Why are you smiling? You're not.
Yeah, boy. Listen, you want to start first, Chinny, or you want me to start?
No, you can start.
Yeah, man. Well, boy, big game, man. Big game. I mean, Chelsea is a game that kind of worried me to begin with, because I think Chelsea are a very Jekyll and Hyde team. I've always said this. I'm not going to change, just because it's my team. I said that they're a team that have the capabilities to hurt any of the big teams because they've got pace in
themselves.
Areas. Jackson. Would you say?
And
any big teams and themselves.
Yeah, well, yeah, and yeah, they've got the likes of Mudryk, who's pants on the day, but Madueke, Nicholas Jackson. So they've got pace in behind, and we saw against City in the FA Cup. Like, had they finished their dinner, they would have been through comfortably. And even against us in that first half, they created a few chances, as did we, and they could have scored. They could have scored some, but we could have scored more than the one goal we had going into the game. And it was just nice, I think, to just see Partey starting in a six, to have Rice playing beside him, and just to see what he gives us. I mean, for the first goal, it's his ability to play quickly that gives Rice the ability to burst through that middle and play the ball up to Trossard and get us the first goal. And it was an interesting game because I thought Kai Havertz in the first half, his movement was exceptional, and the way he was kind of coming deep to receive the ball, and the Chelsea centre-halves were unable to live with him. But his final action was quite poor, and it was quite frustrating to watch. But in that second half, man, his finishing,
switch.
You know what's mad? I think it was more frustrating to watch because it's not like he goes game after game and bangs goals, and this game he just wasn't doing the final actions, because we know as a club, our front line are not clinical, and we've been punished for it at various different times. So as an Arsenal fan, you're watching it and you're like, mate, good chance, good opportunity, and we're not taking it. We're like, eventually we're gonna get hit on the sucker here.
It's just a matter of time, isn't it?
But his all-round game, exceptional, as Mr. White said, it was exceptional. I was watching it thinking, hopefully it just carries on, and it didn't stop, and it didn't. So yeah, sorry, but carry on, Mr. White.
Yeah, no, what's it called? So yeah, it was frustrating. And the two finishes, I mean, for me, I've seen Chelsea fans give him the biggest abuse this season. I think he's been the whipping boy in the sense of, he's the reason why we won't compete for the title. He's the reason that's holding you back. Is he a centre midfielder? Is he this? He doesn't offer you anything. And for him to crash two on them and celebrate as well, I mean, it felt sweet, bro. And I know they must be burning, because that would burn me. Like my former player, and we've had it before. I've had Robin van Persie to come back and crash it on us and feel that pain, right? So, but yeah, man, it was a really good game. I mean, Ben White, Mr. Consistent this season. I think since he's been back from Dubai, he's been one of the players that have been really outstanding. I think one thing I really enjoy about him is that he's not the fastest player in the world, but the way in which he times his run, and the way in which he times his runs, his overlapping runs, is perfect. He makes runs at the right time to give Saka and Odegaard that support. And
even really, I remember you, Mr. White, beginning says that he doesn't really offer that overlapping run. So it doesn't help. Like, he was more like hanging on the edge of the box to play. And then since, like you said, since the buy, he's been doing the overlap. Oh, you got something to say? Something to say over there?
Because I just wanted to put up a highlight that, because over here we don't flip flop. We say what we said. Remember, I was gutting him start season. How much goal do you think he's gonna get? I think somebody said like 10 or something or whatever. He's currently.
I told y'all. I told y'all.
I bet, yeah. So and there was and whatnot. So I have to eat humble pie because I've enjoyed watching. You know what? Can I say something in general? And I know I said this last time you guys destroyed us. I really enjoy watching Arsenal play. I really enjoy. It reminds me of. It kind of reminds me of like. You remember when we used to just tear teams up in the first 25 minutes? But you guys are doing that over the 90 minutes, full 90 minutes, and not conceding. Like, when we was tearing teams up and I was like, cool. But how do we stop conceding goals so winning 5-4 every game? And it seems like that's, but we never got there. We just got to this stage where we at now, where we're just like, the clock needs to change something. And that's what you guys are doing.
As an Arsenal fan, like when we're in our Arsenal group chat, me, Mr. Y, and a few others, we're in there and cussing our team left, well, more Mr. Wise, cussing our team left, right, and centre, yeah, about all the things that we can improve on. And it's true that we can improve on a load of different things. But after watching Arsenal, I watched the game and most of the time I'm enjoying it lately. When I go and then watch like a Man United game or something, it really makes me put into perspective how good of a team we are, like how well coached of a team we are compared to other teams.
And that breaking down teams as well, you know, I don't think you guys get enough credit because you watch a lot of teams, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, go to certain stadiums and find it difficult to get shots on target, but you guys are always, and I think that's why I have the big conversation about what we were talking about earlier with Liverpool, with not having that creative midfielder in there that can pass. I know you guys pay free, but where Odegaard can one pass come in, and I know we've got players like that, but I just feel like he's such like he's the guy for me. He's the difference. He's having a phenomenal season. I can't lie to you. And all the accolades need to go his way as well. But let me stop kissing Arsenal's ass.
Yeah, no, he's been solid, man. And obviously Rice is just like his ability to drive in the box, ability to kind of press high, win the ball back, like so many times, allowed us to create so many chances. And then Odegaard, who I thought in the first half was also not at his sharpest, man. I felt like he held on to the ball a bit. I've always said I want to see him on that left side. I enjoy seeing Odegaard on that left side because I always say that when he's on the right side, he's always got to cut back onto his left foot. He's got no, he's not a player that's happy to use his right foot. And when he's on his left foot, he can be a lot more forward thinking, play things first time, more direct. And we saw that with that, assist to Havertz, and then also with that lovely ball into Ben White. And all in all, man, it was a solid performance, man. It was a solid performance. We dominated. We did to Chelsea what they did to us when we were poor, and that's what I wanted to see. Like when we had our banter era, right? We were getting trashed by teams. We get slapped by City, we get slapped by Liverpool, we get slapped by Chelsea. Like teams were slapping us about, and rightfully so. So for me now to go and slap one of their teams that are having their banter, that gives me a lot of joy and a lot of confidence moving into our next game, man. So for me, it was a solid win, solid performance, and just happy with the bounce back after a terrible week prior to that with the Villa and Bayern losses.
Hey, I've got a few round of applauses to give. One, David Raya. He is not like the best goalkeeper, I'd say, like an Alisson shot stopper goalkeeper, but for what we need, majority of the times for him, he does his job. He's kept 14 clean sheets this season, and he started 28 games. So half of the games he started, he keeps clean sheets. And obviously that's not just down to him. Our whole team as a defensive unit is really strong, but he's in the sticks. And I think Mikel Arteta alluded in an interview that if you watch his actions, not just when he's trying to make a save, he stops things maybe by where he's positioned or what he's saying to the defenders or how he's moving the players around before they become a problem. So David Raya, I think he's got he's one game away now from winning the Golden Glove just because of the amount of games left. So that was my first shout out. Arsenal defence. I think what we saw of that backline without Timber, who I think would come in and be a starter when he's fully fit and firing, that is as strong as we're going to go defensively as a unit. Tomiyasu, who's a lockdown defender, Gabriel and Saliba, and Ben White, who's just been ever present and doing the most forward and backwards. He's master of the dark arts going backwards, master of the dark arts when we're attacking set pieces, as you've seen from the goals, like where he's taking Cucurella everywhere, moving like he's just a problem. He's just got that naughty kid syndrome in it. I love it. So defense deserves round of applause, but Thomas Partey, when he plays, Odegaard and Rice don't even look backwards. That they know that Rice's runs start from 10 yards further forward when Partey plays because he can be there. When Jorginho plays, no offense to Jorginho, we won and played exceptional football when he's there. The players know that they have to cover his vulnerabilities. And that's a lot harder to do than when Partey plays, even though Partey is not obviously the perfect footballer either. And I just feel like the whole team as a unit feels so much more comfortable in defense, in attack, transition when Thomas Partey plays, and it just allows us to be more fluid. more free. We create so much more chances. His first touch turns defense into attack like this very quickly. And for me, he's the key. Odegaard obviously played amazing. Havertz was good up top. Rice was good driving runs. But for me, Thomas Partey is the key to everything. And not having him for the whole season, last time he played was August, is one of the biggest stumbling blocks I think we've had in terms of now we're in a really tight race and we might lose it, opposed to if had he have been fit, would we have picked up some of those points that we didn't have with him and Rice both playing? And I think that's obviously it's just hearsay and ifs and buts, but I think you can see when he plays with Rice, the limited. I think last time he played was Community Shield, but just from that showing against Chelsea, it just looks like we need them to kind of play together. And I think if he stays fit and performs like that for the last 4 games, we have a real strong chance of winning the league. The game was the game. We got an early goal, and they had a couple of chances with Jackson, but that guy, I don't really know what he's really about. Well, he kind of reminds me of Nunes, to be fair, in terms of he's got quite a lot in terms of like his physical attributes, his raw, but his finishing is just. But he does offer quite a lot as a midfielder. He's not the worst. Like, he's quite a good outlet to have. Like, he does the dirty work, but he just doesn't do the rest. So after I think he had one, he had the one chance where he tried to head it, but he handballed it, and then he had one good chance where he just passed it into the side net for some reason. But
I think he's better. I think he's got more attributes in terms of technically. He's a better footballer than Nunes. I think his link-up play is more cleaner. I think his dribbling is more cleaner. Right, but I think he's a lot poorer at finishing than Nunes. I think Nunes has more finishing, has shown a better repertoire of finishing and ball striking than Jackson. But Jackson's overall game, I mean, I've seen him blow out Kyle Walker in the last week. I've seen him run Saliba down the wing. Yeah, so I think he's a good player. I just think he shouldn't be at Chelsea, in the sense of he should be playing somewhere where there isn't that pressure, or playing in a Chelsea team with more experience where he is one of very few youngsters instead of being one of many, which is, the real problem with Chelsea.
Yeah, it was a good game for us. Dominated majority of it, created loads. We had like 27 chances in the game against Chelsea, who are our top team. Couldn't really ask for more. Couldn't really ask for more. Clean sheet, and our players, I don't even think were at their best. That is I feel like we just played our usual game. The ball just happened to go into the net 5 times, but I don't feel like we were amazing. I think we played that well in the first half against Villa. We just didn't put the ball in the net.
I think we played a second gear. I think that's probably the best way to kind of play it. We played the second gear and could have won and could have scored 8-9 goals, to be fair. And that is, that's my only regret.
You know what second gear is?
Huh?
Yeah, man.
Nah. No, I'm giving it to you. I would say we played second gear, but I'd say we didn't.
I say second gear because I don't feel like, especially in that second half, we had to really up the thing. We were just doing what we wanted, and it was just
it's coming,
kind of calm thing, yeah. And it's almost like save yourself. You got a big one on Sunday. I think that's a purpose.
When teams play against us, but they don't try and stop us, so they try and play their game, and they let us play our game. The likelihood is that whoever's the better team then will go and win. The likelihood. So it was like watching Brighton and City, which we'll get onto later. Brighton play a certain way, City play a certain way. If you're going to try and stop the other team, then that might change the results of things. But if you're going to just try and go head to head with someone and they're player for player better than you, the likelihood is more times than not, you're going to lose. And I think Chelsea tried to play their game. They went 4 at the back. the two donkeys in the middle of the centre back, and that was already the start of disaster. I thought their midfield would do a lot better than they did, because they have three players. You have two workhorses. You have another player that can play a bit on the ball. But we just totally dominated.
And Poch asked for them to see it's not Palmer FC and whatnot. He said, "Yo, let's see what my players are made of. Do they have the cojones? Can they play this way and not just look for this kid to just?"
I think that was Poch's fault. Like, I think we're better than Chelsea anyway, but I think the result is Poch's fault a bit more, because you have Palmer. Obviously, Palmer was out of the team, but you didn't replace him. You didn't find that they didn't have any creative players on the pitch.
Mm. I didn't even like the way he said it. I think he's up there as, like, even when I see him being interviewed, I think sometimes I'm like, I don't see how the players like grasp or draw inspiration from his interviews, and so I can imagine what his team talks are like.
The only ways they were gonna score by getting it wide, and their wide players beating a man or in transition, because they weren't coming through the middle of the pitch, because there's no creativity there.
Right, Poch is very much like Ten Hag, no charisma, no ability to kind of motivate his team. And you know what? Enough of Cole Palmer FC, because without Cole Palmer, there's no nothing in that team, as we've seen on Tuesday. But let's segue to the North London derby, guys. Thoughts? Oh, let me start with you as an outsider. What's your take on it?
Outsider.
Well, in terms of like,
I don't like the term outsider.
No, in terms of like you're not in it. Like,
so I'm not neutral, by the way. I want you guys to lose.
No, of course you do. But I'm saying even if we do lose, we'd have to drop points again to get ahead of us. So that's why I'm like, Liverpool really are out of the race, in my opinion, because even if we lost and City lost, right, we're still ahead of you on goal difference, significantly ahead of you on goal difference. So
you hope for us to lose again.
Yeah, you need us to lose again.
Yeah, I need you guys to rest the remaining games. Nah, all jokes aside. I'm not joking, but all jokes aside, I think it's gonna be a very difficult. I know we talked about this before. It's funny how it always Tottenham about an embarrassing club. I'm not gonna lie to
you. Tottenham have to play all three of the top teams, of the top three.
Yeah,
they're gonna decide the title.
I mean, we're out of it unless you guys slip up, or unless you guys have to. Everyone has to slip up. What's the TI word? Exponentially, or whatever the word is. Yeah, for you guys, for like us, like you said, for us to be in it. So personally, I just feel like it's one of the ones that's between you two, cool. But I just feel like it's a shame, because Tottenham's, no matter how great they say they are, what players they have, or blah blah blah, or whatever, or the respect to their manager or how they play, this is what they wait for. This is what they charge up for. All right, cool. Can we stop Arsenal? And you're just like, bro, what does that say about you guys' club? It's in the mud. But Tottenham are not an easy ride. Like, let's be honest. It's gonna be a difficult game. I always watch you guys' game, and it always ends up, bar the season with that Chinny reminded me of it, that when they tried to stop you from doing top four and you guys lost. It's always been a convincing win for Arsenal, and I'm going a convincing win for Arsenal personally. I feel like, especially having Party back, your back four. Was Timber on the bench, right?
No, he wasn't, but he may be tomorrow.
So yeah, so I'm guessing he'll be on the bench as well. And I feel like
he's not playing tomorrow. He's not playing. He's not going to be on bench. No.
Oh, okay. So I think that's smart, but I don't think you need it. I think Chinny talking about having Party back is huge, and I feel like Tottenham's gonna get they're gonna be stuck in the mud. I can't see them dominating in any area of the pitch. I can't see them. I can see them just trying to pass it out, and you saw Brighton make a couple of mistakes that way, and I can see you guys capitalizing on the Tottenham mistakes, because one thing about Tottenham is I don't think they have the mental kahunas. Even if they do go 1-0 down, 1-0 up, I think they play terrible after that. I think they're like, okay, we're 1-0 up. Shit, what do we do? I've always said that all season, and I feel like you guys are starting to mature. You think about Arsenal this year, you guys are very mature, but you guys are starting to mature, and that's a scary sign for teams. You guys are maturing, and I feel like that is what the problem is. And you have this again, when Saka don't play well, okay, we all know he knows he's had some games or not, but I think he'll always contribute to something, even if he doesn't have a great 90 minutes. And then you've got Odegaard, who I absolutely love as a player, who will keep trying, and you guys will always have chances because you guys have those type of players. And I can't see Tottenham's gonna find it very difficult against you guys. I think like it could be a 3-0, 4-0 win. That's how embarrassing. That's how I think Tottenham's not going to offer much to that game, to be fair.
That's an interesting.
If I'm praising you guys for your mentality being very mature. If you guys treat this game as not London, who's the best in London, and you guys treat it as we need this, yes. If you guys go into it heated and the first tackle you get hit, and then the first tackle and the crowd gets in and whatnot, then it's very much like, okay, that's where you're gonna see the maturity drop. But if you guys stay mature and you guys play your game, and I don't think you guys even have to come out of second and a half, third gear, you know, switching in between. You know, the car's telling you you can do quick, you're gonna speed up, or you're gonna stay in second. I think you guys will have enough to beat Tottenham if you guys stay focused and do a mature performance. Then it's all you. If you guys let that get to you and you get excited and you're sending the backs in, and everyone gets excited and there's a foul in there or someone's nudged you, or you know, I just think personally, stay mature. It's all yours.
You know what? I'm usually nervous in North London derbies, and I'm still nervous, but I have a little bit more confidence going into this one. You know, when I look at, you know, the factors surrounding, I think the last time Tottenham played was 14 days ago, and it would have been that 4-0 battering at Newcastle. They lost Udogie for the rest of the season, so you've got Davies coming up against Saka, which I think is a favourable matchup for us.
They might be Porro and Royale at the side.
But even so, that's still up for me. Whoever you put, if you put Emerson or Davies on Saka, I'd be quite comfortable in that matchup. I think Saka's got the pace to outdo him. I think he's got the strength to hold him off in the duels as well. When, you know, he's got his back towards him, Saka's quite good at doing that in terms of holding defences off. I think when you look at the fact that Tottenham this side of the year have been very inconsistent, I think, you know, in 2024 they've dropped quite a few points. More recently, they lost to Newcastle, as I mentioned a second ago, Fulham as well. I think Basuma and Maddison have been out of form. We haven't seen the Maddison from the beginning of the season, and the one that turned up against us, played well against Liverpool, and looked to start really bright before the Chelsea injury. So those factors give me some confidence. And, you know, one thing about Tottenham is that defensively they're a mess. Yeah, there's always gaps in their team, and they don't alter their style. You know, Ange is not a manager that will be getting them to sit in a mid block and play defensively.
I'm going to ask you as well. Do you think he's going to change it? No, he's not.
No, he won't change it because he's trying to instill a philosophy, which I respect. But I think you've laid out
so much shit about other teams.
Remember, we said that if you see I want to see how naive this man is, and
I don't think it's naive though. I think he was
against Arsenal.
But I don't think it's naive because I think you have to establish the boundaries of what you want your team to look like, and then once you've got better personality,
what you want your team to look like, and what your team can do,
and the players that's available.
Yeah,
I think there is a very thin line that we don't really look at sometimes, which is you want to get them accustomed to playing a certain way and to kind of know the patterns of play and the idea of what you want to do. You don't want to change up your whole game plan for that. They don't have the team. They don't also they don't have the personnel to be a defensive team. If they try to be a defensive team, like a solid, put up a solid mid block, they don't have the defense. They don't have the midfielders. Like, let's be real, Porro is not a good defender to be sitting there and just in a back four and just defending. He doesn't have that skill set, right? Basuma this season has not been that player. Maddison is not the best defensively. The best way to be defensive is to be offensive in a sense of high press, right? High energy, high line, and trying to
bite them, boy.
You know, but
what you're doing is you're laying the foundations for next season when you've got better players to be able to do that against the big teams. And they've shown that they've been able to get some results. They went to City and got out, you know, what was the draw? Was it 3-3 against City? Was it 2-2? Was it 3-3 or 2-2?
They've been able to get some results.
Yeah, so for me, I respect that about a manager. And I said the same thing. I remember I was being slandered, by Scorcher on the show when I talked about can't remember his name now, how to say his name again. The Bournemouth manager. Remember, and I was talking about philosophy, and he was like, philosophy this, and I was like, nah, listen, he's establishing it, and he's trying to, create patterns and he's trying to set standards, right?
You see when Arsenal went to City,
Iriola, that's his name, Iriola, right?
You see when Arsenal went to City and we played a totally different game than we normally play.
Mm-hmm.
Was you unhappy with that?
No, but I'm not. I'm okay with that.
The Spurs fans would be unhappy if they don't go out.
But you know what the difference is, though? You know what the difference is, Chinny?
Then what?
No, but the difference is, Chinny, is right now we're at a stage of our evolution where we don't need to establish a pattern of play. We've already created a style of play, a philosophy, which the players can play to most games, right? So for the one-off games against other teams, you should make different changes. When the team doesn't have a style of play, when you've come from Conte, who was terrorist football, who was defensive football, and not building out the back, there was no real patterns.
Technical difficulties.
Oh, we'll get right back. He was saying that there was no real patterns, and then now you've got a new manager with patterns.
There you go.
I believe.
No, you
lost us at no real patterns.
Yeah, no real patterns. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say to you is he's trying to establish something, and I've seen it this season. I remember every man crashing on me for the Areola talk. Look what he's doing now with Bournemouth. Got them playing good football. They press well. They create good, create good chances.
Doesn't mean that for certain games against certain teams, you just don't change it for that one game.
We've seen the opposite with Burnley and stuff like that.
We spoke about Man City changing their game against Arsenal to beat Arsenal's press. Like Man City, the best team in the world. Yeah, they changed their game, one game to beat Arsenal.
But you're forgetting what I brought up though. I said to you, when you're at the beginning of a project, it's a different kind of thing to when you're further along the evolution. I'm saying to you, we are. No. I hear you, but I don't think he has the personality.
Are you moving the goalposts a little here?
No, because I think context. Listen, we had a conversation about context mattering about Klopp, right? A second ago,
Come out of this, man.
So I'm saying in context, it's like he's still at the beginning phase. This is his first year, and we were looking at a team where we didn't have high expectations. I think his whole thing is I want this team, and he said it many times. I don't care about Champions League football because if I'm not winning trophies, which I respect, it doesn't matter. For me, it's about establishing how I want to play, what I want to play, and having those players be able to do.
So what you're saying is that he's testing it out against a big team, his playing style.
I think he's not testing out. I think he's laying the foundations for what he wants.
He did it would be testing out. He did it against you.
So he already knows his foundation of football. So it'd be wise for him to just change it for one game. Say, okay, let's try and.
I mean, if it were to get City, he's probably thinking, I could work against Oxford if he
or
personnel, I can't change it.
Chelsea played well against City, and then they didn't play well against us.
Yeah, but at the same time, they are fifth right now, and this is what's giving them success. So are you now going to change what's giving you success, what the players are most comfortable with, to do something that they're not as comfortable with? That is where that whole conversation comes into. That's why I say to you, it's different for teams like Arsenal or City who've established it, right? And when we spoke about City in Pep's first season, they weren't the same City as they are now. That first season, they had games where they had drop on.
It's easier to.
They had games where they played the same way. They build out the back, and they'd struggle, and they'd lose goals. They'd concede goals. Romelu Lukaku at Everton was tearing them apart. So they had that transitional season where they got used to it. They got some results, but they lost some results. They conceded quite a few goals. But after the team became really embedded with the foundations of what Pep Guardiola wanted, then you see alterations. Then you see centre backs going into midfield. Then you see left backs inverting. You see all these little different tactical tweaks. So I think we've got to give them grace.
I think it's easier to go from being an attacking ball-playing team to saying one game you don't just sit there because you know that you can change it to attacking when you need to. rather than going to a team that's a defensive team to now saying, okay, we need to attack. Because occupying defensive space is a lot easier than a patterns of play and stuff.
But that's if you have the personnel. Do you think, like objectively, Tottenham have enough defensive foundation to be a defensive team?
I don't. I just also don't think that you want to go toe for toe and just hope that your gun don't jam.
I mean, we're gonna find out on Sunday. We're gonna find out on the weekend.
But they'll look at the Emirates trip. They'll look at City. They'll look at the Chelsea game before they got a man sent off. They'll look at it and be like, we've given teams, Liverpool, at home. They will look at those games and be like, we had joy when we played them, right? We didn't sit down and defend. Bro, they won the game. I know you lot got scammed, but I'm saying to you, they didn't play bad, did they? Man, give me the rock eyebrow.
No, you're saying like, did they enjoy themselves? Did they? We got robbed the goal, one goal.
I'm saying to you, they were in the game. It was a competitive game, right? It wasn't like you were smoking them. It was.
I'm joking.
Well, there you go. Like I think that is.
No, I hear it. I think both arguments exist. It's just like,
and you as a Liverpool fan, right? Like, you should know better than anybody, because this is what happened with Klopp. Do you remember what happened with Klopp when first season Klopp? Are you forgetting about this? About how the Gergen press, how open you were outscoring teams 4-4s, this that. It was a struggle first season, but look at the next season. He didn't switch his game plan up. People were criticizing him. What are you doing this for?
Was getting smoked sometimes as well. So yeah, I hear it. I remember the Norwich game with 4-4 and them thing there. I remember
that's what I'm saying to you. But the second season, top 4, no? And then the third season, you know what I mean? So there you go. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Like,
yeah, interesting game. Hopefully we come out with a dub. But
all right, score predictions.
3-1 Arsenal.
Oh,
I think you guys are winning like 3-0, 4-0, 3-0. If I'm gonna go 3-0.
Yeah, I think 3-1 is.
Nobody wanted to score prediction Liverpool and West Ham because it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I will do that as well because I remembered. Yeah,
that's cool. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the game. It's fine. It's not a title. It's not a title race.
There you go. 1-1.
2-0 Liverpool.
Oh.
3-1.
West Ham.
I went back for a second. You got me. I was like, wait, what?
Man, didn't give me a team, you know. Man said 3-1. West Ham are first.
Come on, I'm never gonna go against the grain.
All right, and last, yeah, definitely least, because we don't really want to talk about them, but we have to because they're just always fucking there. City, they make light work of Brighton, absolute light work of them. Obviously, there was a lot of decisions within that game that it wouldn't have changed the result of the game, but the referees really need to start sorting their lives out because it's actually becoming crazy, the amount of things they're getting wrong. It's just like a lack of understanding. I don't know if it's a lack of understanding or incompetence, but
it's incompetence, man.
I think it's a lack of I feel like it's ownership as well. I feel like they don't have to take ownership because they're like, oh, if I got it wrong, I'm gonna check it. All right, it's not my fault now, it's their fault. So like, you know what I mean? You didn't look back. Do you remember back in the day when they wouldn't even play replays, like in the stadium? If it's a mistake. Like we're so past that. Like I don't feel like that's not even a thing no more. They will play the replay and they'll say, cool, yeah, boom. Like you couldn't take the ownership. So they was a bit more cautious with decisions, you know. But now it's like, I'm gonna make a call. But if I don't do it, they're gonna tell me, and if they don't, they'll tell me to go check the screen. So it's like there's no real. I don't think there's no real ownership or no. So there's no care. It's like just turning up to work now instead of actually like, you know, like having to. Like it's like a customer comes to me, I'm not the manager. Go speak to the manager. It's like or go speak to the assistant manager. It's not. I don't think there's any like anymore. They don't take no ownership. They don't have to because you've taken that away from them.
My biggest gripe is I look at it like this very simply. The man them have CCTV camera, basically footage to review, to determine whether it is or isn't a foul. That's like me telling police to go and work without CCTV footage and go and just dust prints and work the old way, and now you've got camera footage to find criminals. It's a lot easier. It should be a lot easier to find them. It's very simple. We keep making it complex, and it's just simple incompetence. Yeah, I mean, negligence is the simple word. If I don't see something, right, because sometimes I don't blame a referee on the pitch for making a decision, because if he's not sure, then reality is that he should really wait for someone else to kind of check that thing. If he's not sure, he can't blow either way. But if you've got CCTV footage of exactly what's happening, you've got video evidence of what's happened, it's a given. You can see who's done what and who hasn't done what. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? That's like doing a madness and police are seeing you barefaced on the camera.
And then their excuses on more time like, we're going with the referee's on-field decision. It's like, bro, the referee's on-field decision is wrong. What are the cameras here for?
Yeah. Sometimes the referee
on-field decision, you can see it's wrong. Like, and in the Arsenal game, I think Jackson like studded someone above the ankle, Tomiyasu, and they watched it and they've cleared it, and they're basically saying, we might have given a yellow card for it, but we're not allowed to go back and give yellow cards. What kind of use of the camera is that then?
And to put it simply, if the referee's not sure, the referee shouldn't do nothing. And if I was a referee and I'm in a situation where I'm uncertain of the decision to make, I would say, I'm not going to give you a penalty. I'm not going to not give you a penalty, but I'm going to wait for them to review it. It shouldn't be because I've made no decision, you go in with the on-field call, because the safest decision from the safest course of action, from my perspective,
the video camera,
because you've got more information than I have. If I don't have enough information, I can't adequately make an informed decision on this particular action. So that's where the flaw is. The system's flawed.
Though with that as well is that, and then you think about the speeds they're looking at it, and then you think about them drawing the lines themselves and stuff.
You see the drawing the line themselves thing? It's crazy. I watched a video today. I think it was like the Chelsea Tottenham game, and they were drawing the lines on like Nicholas Jackson and one of the defenders, but he's like, a little to the right, and he's basically in the studio judging where on the shot it can go. Like where's the cut-off point? Is it here? And he's judging. He's like, stop it there, innit? One more. It's like, but that might be too low, or that might be too high. It's like, how can you allow someone
trying to do it as quick as they can? It's like when you got 20 seconds left of the test.
I mean, the offside one don't bother me because it's going to be changed next season, right? Because they're going automated. So that's not really the big gripe for me.
I mean, that can be a difference in a title run.
But what I'm trying to say though is at the same time, it's like, because of what they're given to work with, it's down to interpretation in the sense of you have to try and figure out where is the armpit and draw the line from there. So I can't really scrutinize them as much because it's a more difficult thing to do.
You're scrutinizing the actual technology or the way it's been rolled out as a whole. Like, if you can see that now, when they were testing it, they would have understood that would have been the case anyway, and they still allowed it to roll out.
But what I'm trying to say to you is that the system is flawed, and hence why we all disagree with it and why they're going to automate next season. So it's kind of almost redundant for me to keep on banging on about the flaws of the system when they've already addressed it moving forward. So it's almost like it's poor and it's piss poor, and we all acknowledge it's piss poor, but at the same time, it's more down to interpretation. Whereas the penalty decisions, the handball decisions, like, the one we saw City versus Chelsea, the penalty against Brighton, for instance, that, even the Phil Foden goal shouldn't stand because those are moments which change games. And thing can be like, well, you know what, a free kick was actually not a free kick and we've given away a goal because of this. It's the little things like that that kind of infuriate me about VAR and all the negligence of VAR. But all in all, I mean, City on this 17 unbeaten run. Everyone talks about how poor they are. The machine is machining right now, and yeah, man, it's annoying to see, and I can only empathize with heartbreak.
I thought it was going to be a banana skin, a potential banana skin, and maybe Brighton will get the draw. Obviously, Brighton have been very up and down this season. Not really sure what you're going to get. And obviously, they left themselves a bit too open for Man City in that game. Man City took full advantage, regardless of the bad refereeing and decision. They would have won that game. So obviously, as a Liverpool fan, as an Arsenal fan, we just have to sit here and wait for the next game and just hoping that someone can do something while our team continue to win. So I think
predictions on the Forest game, boys.
You know what? Yeah, with my brain, I'm saying City are winning that comfortably.
Or with your heart?
With my heart, I'm saying 1-1, 1-1.
I mean, didn't they play them a couple seasons ago and they were like 1-0 down early?
Last year they lost.
Last year they drew 1-1. Yeah, they drew 1-1. I think it could be a banana skin. I think Forest, you don't want to play teams that are in a relegation scrap as O knows, like they have more to fight for. Yeah, so no, I'm just keeping 100.
No, you're right. You know, you have something to say that I had that. I just
I'm not even sending shots. I'm just keeping 100.
No,
like Everton.
You said
no, I'm saying
you could have said, like, you know how football goes. We all know it. We all got football heads. We know.
All right, cool. It was a shot. Fuck it, it was a shot. But it is what, like, you know, Forest have been dealing with a lot. You know, like they got shed the other time they played against who was it they played against? It was against Everton they played, didn't it? When they got screwed over.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, and then the whole statement came out. So they've got a lot riding on this, and they need 3 points. So I can see them putting up a 1-1. I can see them trying to put up a nasty block. You know, Brighton play into City's hand, especially with the injuries they had. You know, they're going to play at the back. They don't have the pace out wide, etc. So I think it's going to be a different game. This is going to be a team that will be defensive. Nuno's actually got the best head-to-head record with against Pep Guardiola in the league. So you know, from the managers that are in the league right now, should I say?
Yeah. And Arsenal play first on Sunday, and obviously, if Arsenal win against Spurs, that then applies way more pressure onto the City game, and they know that they have to come out and get something. So, whereas if Arsenal don't win the game, City then come out and can play a bit more relaxed, and I think that will suit them. That they get to play a bit more relaxed because then they still have that extra game if they want.
I mean, saying that, it didn't work the same way when we lost.
Yeah, but City are a different machine. As we both explained.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to throw in there.
Yeah.
I think
Let's see. What's
the impact the City game?
What's your prediction,
3-0. I keep saying 3. I'm gonna say 2-0.
2-0. All right. So one City win, two City draws. But yeah, man.
Oh, you're both saying it. Okay, cool.
I'm saying 1-1.
That's both from the heart, or is that from the head?
No, you know what? I genuinely think that the way that they will sit up under Nuno, who's a good manager in terms of like setting up defensively, right? I think they can go out and get a draw. I don't think City have been as electrifying as recent as they have been, you know, previously. I don't think they have as many match winners, and I think Forest have a lot to fight for, and they're going to be dealing with this. There's a lot of injustice in that club at the moment. They feel a certain way about the points. They feel a certain way about the refereeing decisions they've been screwed with. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of animosity, and I think the crowd are going to be up for it, man. That crowd is, you know, there's a whole us versus the world attitude, and I think that siege mentality can carry you a very long way.
I think I'll start thinking about that game as soon as the Arsenal game's done. Right now, I'm in Arsenal mode. Win our game, think about that next. But yeah, man.
Anyways,
you guys.
Anyways, this concludes another episode of, you know what I mean, OTP Pod, boys. Thank you for joining. Smash a like, subscribe, do all of that. Any questions, throw it in the chat, in the Twitter. Our handles are below. But yeah, man, anything any boys want to say before we roll out?
Nah, just good luck, Tottenham.
Good luck.
I'm saying that. Don't say good luck, Tottenham. You know, it's funny when your enemies, your allies switch sides. You know what I'm trying to say to you? Like, City have been crashing on your head top for years, and then you're already switching sides. It says a lot, man. It says a lot.
They've been crashing on your head top for ages.
Hey. Bro,
one
Premier League.
One Premier League, yeah. Out in I just said Klopp's high five and Arteta like, hey, good luck.
There you go, man. Remember, he's tired, bro.
Grace though, because I think I say this and I say this, Pep's not doing more than another 2 seasons max.
There you go, it's all right because we played this season, bro. The dub this year. Dub's in the chat.
I hear that.
I ain't say nothing. So if we don't do that, everybody indirect. I mean, Chinny, boy. If you know where to find him, you come for Chinny, boy. I ain't saying nothing. I've got
a nice tweet saved in my draft for after this weekend if it goes the way I need it to.
This weekend? Oh, you're the
oh wow. Well, say nothing. Well, we'll be looking forward to that. We'll be looking forward to that.
I mean, it's gonna sit in your drafts in a minute. So I hope you got a backup tweet. Nah, joking. I did say you guys are winning, but still, obviously, I hope you lose.
Right, guys. Another
Last
episode.
so you hope City win over Arsenal, yeah? Just to clarify, like the title. Now they have it. Yeah. To protect Klopp's legacy, right?
No, because I know our fans are annoying. Your fans are just as annoying. Their 62 fans on Twitter don't mean nothing to me. Your fans, it will be so unbearable. I can't take it.
Haters gonna hate, but we're still gonna do. On that note, peace.
Peace.